Hey everyone, today we have a very special person with us, Chris Dreyer. Chris is the owner of rankings.io. Chris is one of the smartest SEO persons I have known in my life. Although we were planning to meet in person, but because of Corona, it just couldn't happen. But here we are today talking over a candid discussion about how Chris has done what grown his agency and a lot of other things, his journey in life. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, Chris, I was going through everything you have done. It's been such an interesting journey. What I would like to know is who was Chris as a child while growing up?
Jeez, I was always very interested in anything, and I'm a contrarian person. My mom always says I'm a rebel. So if you tell me this is how something's supposed to be done, I would always look for an alternative way to do something. Even playing video games as a kid, like if everyone played one specific character, I would play a different character. I was always contrarian, even growing up in every aspect. Board games, it just doesn't matter. Competing, just a contrarian. I like to take a different point of view for every approach.
Okay. And if I talk to one of your friends back from your school days, what would they tell me about you?
My friends would say I'm super competitive. My dad has this saying, "You only play the game to win." Games are zero sum, right? Games are status, right? Sports, everything.
Yeah.
So whenever I play anything, whether it's a poker or the agency life or a board game or anything, I'm looking at every single aspect of it to where I can gain an advantage on my opponent. and I'm really trying to win. It drives my wife nuts, but that's what I do.
Okay, that's very interesting. But I'm sure you're enjoying the journey as much as well, right? Like, fine, the destination, the win is important, but
absolutely, competing's fun. Having that challenge, something that challenges you. If it's not difficult, there's not that big reward. So it's always, I think you have to be uncomfortable in every aspect of your life or journey or business. And I think, when something is challenging to obtain, it is more, there's more gratification.
Right. So, Chris, from a school teacher to a self-taught SEO affiliate marketer to running your own agency, that's like a very different progression from what you see for a normal person. Well, now, what exactly are the qualities in you which you think kind of pushed you to make those changes? Because these are not normal changes.
Yeah. I just felt like when I went to school, I didn't know what path that I wanted to take. I knew that I wanted to honor my family and make them happy. And that's why I went to college and got a degree in education. I was very involved in sports in high school and have a great love for the game of basketball. So my original plan was to teach at a high school and then go up the ladder and then coach collegiately or professionally. That was my original goal. And got a job at a high school and was their JV basketball coach. And there was this day in, day out grind where I just didn't feel satisfied. Okay. And I had a lot of time. And I say this is really cliche, but I typed in how to make money online. And I found Ed Dale's 30-day challenge to affiliate marketing. Back in the day, there wasn't courses and
I remember that challenge. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's Warrior Forum, Keyword Academy, and a handful of individuals like on Yahoo groups back in the day. Now it would be kind of the equivalent to Reddit.
Digital Point Forum, Warrior Forum, like a few forums. And okay, so you did the whole 30-day challenge and you ended up making the $10, I think it used to be.
Yeah, it was like $10. But when I received that initial payment, my life, I know $10 is not very significant, but I could see opportunity. I knew that, hey, very minimal effort, I made $10. Imagine if I applied all my focus into this avenue. And that's what happened. I obsessed. I went all in. and learned and consumed everything I could. And by the end of my second year teaching, I was making significantly more doing the affiliate marketing than I was teaching. So it was a natural course trajectory to go into affiliate marketing.
What exactly were you promoting in affiliate marketing?
That's really fun. My first site was loseadoublechin.com. I don't think that site exists. But we ranked number one for double chin for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
I ranked number one for acai fruit when that was popular, when it was on Oprah, and how to stain concrete floors. And stain concrete floors, I ranked number one for that for years. In fact, I was the number one Kindle Direct Publishing book on Amazon back when that was early.
Okay.
For that book. And those were a few of the avenues. I even had stuff on pastry chefs. I had a Best Man Duties Kindle Direct Publishing book, and I had a generator website that when all the hurricanes were hitting the US, Katrina, all of my generators sold out. Like we sold every single one available. Just really a lot of bizarre.
Yep. That's what, like, I used to be in AdSense and affiliate. And while I was doing AdSense, I used to have a website on almost everything, like single keyword beauty. I used to rank on treadmills, weight loss, like you name it. And, there would be a website. So I completely get it. And then what happened? Panda Penguin, the crazy animals.
I mean, all of us back in the day, I normally have the eZines coffee mug here. I had like 100 of those coffee mugs that you would author. And that was a good outlet for link building. And they had the Build My Rank and the Keyword Academy links. And back then, and then once Penguin came in and smacked those around and penalized everyone for the unnatural links, my affiliate income went from, let's say $15,000 a month down to like $2,000 overnight. And I knew I wasn't doing things evergreen and there wasn't enough consumer value that the effort to take those out of the grave and to rebuild them was going to be pretty significant. Right. So that's how I got a gig at a digital marketing agency and kind of where I got my feet wet in the agency life.
And that didn't like satisfy, like you were doing well at your agency. You were like the head of SEO. You reached that level.
I rose to be their top guy, their top SEO specialist. I say SEO specialist, but I was literally doing everything, pay-per-click, literally anything digital that you could think of. And being honest and being transparent, I didn't think that they had the right business game plan. And I didn't think they were more sales oriented and less on the technical skill. And I just thought I could do better. I think that's a classic story of most technicians, most specialists think they can do better and they start their own business. And that's what I did.
Okay. And that's when you launched attorneyrankings.org.
Yeah, attorneyrankings.org. And it's funny, I just had on Facebook, how you have those memories. It popped up.
Yeah, 7 years back.
We launched it and I'm going to do air quotes, a full service provider because, we're trying to offer anything digital. We're trying to increase our top line and really anything. We would take on anything to generate cash and revenue at the beginning. We couldn't be too selective because we didn't have a brand. We didn't have reputation, testimonials, and case studies. And eventually over time, we really developed that reputation for SEO. That's my core competency in terms of like a digital skill. And just kept niching down. So we referred out all of our pay-per-click business and focused on SEO. We referred all of our design and focused on SEO. And the interesting thing is, even though individuals think that you're giving away opportunities, we're actually creating them because of our focus on SEO. We could put all of our energy and all of our vision into making that the best service possible. And then that allowed us to create reciprocal, mutually beneficial referral relationships with these other agencies.
Although I wanted to talk about this a little later in the show, but talking about PPC, fine, I understand design. That's a completely different ball game. Maybe even social media is quite, like it needs special skill sets. But SEO and PPC really go hand in hand. And with the changing dynamics of the SERP world, like Google, they are kind of the owner of the show, the king of the jungle, right? And they are reducing the space which an SEO listing has, like the share of voice of organic is getting reduced. Like if you look at 5 years before today and 10 years before today, what you could generate organically. So isn't and again the strategy, the keywords, the landing pages, the conversions, like there are a lot of commonalities between at least SEO and PPC. So everything else I can completely understand, but these two, because we are kind of in have been in similar boat. Back in the day, I used to run an agency, SEO Next, then we became Digital Next, again completely reverse of what you did. Maybe it was a wrong decision back then, but yeah. So do you still like feel that PPC and SEO would not perhaps be a good mix of services, like the organic, the search company versus the organic company?
So we could have a lot of fun with this. I feel that all marketing channels to some degree can be beneficial with the right focus and for the right cost, because attention shifts and there is arbitrage in what you would pay for one channel versus another. For example, right now, most individuals are doing away with radio. Okay. And people don't even think about radio as much. Well, the cost for those spots have significantly declined.
Sure.
In the beginning, pay-per-click, everything was 10 cents a click. And now in the legal vertical, car accident lawyers, $200 a click.
Yeah.
So it changes. And from a marketing standpoint, from a unique selling proposition, I can sell them both ways, right? I can sell the advantage of, hey, let's do pay-per-click. It takes time to rank your SEO. We can get immediate traffic, right? Or I can say, hey, you should do SEO versus PPC, because SEO, you're creating an asset that compounds over time and it's evergreen and permanent. So you can play it either way. And I've seen it a lot of different directions.
Absolutely. But that kind of gets me to my, one of another question, which is making people understand that, okay, fine, it is intangible SEO. You will get results after maybe 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, depending on where you are right now, and a lot of other factors. People will need to have patience. Fine, and they're paying a decent amount of money, having patience for, say, 9 months before they see any actionable outcome. Then retaining those people after that, because once they get the outcome, will the outcome, they understand it's cumulative as well, it kind of adds up, but is there a point at which you felt that your clients are kind of saying, okay, now I've spent money for 2 years, I've kind of reached at a very good spot, and now I need to pause my SEO for some time and maybe hold that money for myself? Have you been in those kind of situations, or how do you handle that?
That's a good question. And that can occur for some areas of the law that aren't saturated and aren't as competitive. For the personal injury space where we live and breathe, everybody in those top results, they're all using an SEO agency. So the moment that you stop generating new content, improving your website, you stop promoting and creating content for those linkable assets and the natural inbound link acquisition, the moment you start to fall behind. Sure. I also think Google likes the fresh signals to the site.
Right.
And so I don't know that you can become complacent in a very saturated niche. If it was trademark attorney and you're the only one in the city, or maybe there's a handful, you could build a nice gap, a nice moat to where you take that and invest elsewhere. The other thing that I like about SEO when we make this comparison. And again, I like all channels. Okay?
Right.
I like them all for marketing. Anytime you get attention and impressions to build the brand. The cool thing about SEO is, as you know, one landing page could rank for 2,000 keywords. So even though you rank number one for a particular phrase, doesn't mean you're going to rank number one for all of them. So there's a lot of opportunity even on a specific keyword segment, not to mention other parallel areas of the law. So under personal injury, you could do really well for PI, but maybe you're not ranking well for car accident or truck or motorcycle or slip and fall or what have you. And that's where opportunities can really be created from an SEO and content marketing standpoint.
Sure. So because it is as competitive a niche, you are always racing against other people. And if you pause, those people will like go ahead and you'll fall back.
Yeah. And it's actually a tactical strategy that we take, and we try to create gaps. We try to create these barriers of entry.
Right.
Everyone that's working with an SEO agency is going to pull up Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, or some competitive analysis tool.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're going to do a competitor backlink analysis to see where the gap is. So the real trick is, what are the links? What are the things that I can do that they can't replicate?
Right. Okay.
That's how you create a barrier of entry.
Okay. So do you have a lot of owned assets in your business, which or places where you have control over, which no one else really can get control?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see the smile. So yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Have those, even from a medium perspective, if you have a client that has a podcast and your competitors don't, you can get those audio-based links. There's a lot of opportunities there. If they create a white paper and turn it into a PDF, you can submit to PDF directories. If they have, an exceptional case that has a lot of media attention, they may be able to get those big news publications. Now, they're not always do follow links, but they're still great trust signals.
Right.
And all those things can be used as a competitive advantage.
Okay, fair enough. So tell me something, like you have really scaled up an agency, that too in a single niche and selling SEO. Obviously, you've done that by increasing your prices to a level where you really feel that, okay, this is what I need. But what I want to understand and talk about is, how do you really price? Is it value-based pricing? Do you charge for your man hours, or what exactly do you tell the client that the outcome you'll deliver in X amount of time? How do you go about figuring that amount? What is the right price?
Yeah, so you're absolutely dead on. We do value-based pricing, not entirely value. We do some. So there's input, output, and value. Input would be hours and capacity. Output would be units, which would be number of links, number of articles. And then there's value, like it's the value levers. What we do is we do a competitive diagnosis. We call it an SEO discovery because we're mirroring our audience. Our audience is legal. They do discoveries before they go to trial.
Right.
SEO discovery. And I use all kinds of analogies here. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Right. There is, imagine your car wasn't working properly and you took it to an auto shop, and before you got out of the car, they said it was going to be, $100,000 to fix your car. You'd think they're crazy. They didn't even look under the hood.
Right.
That's what we have to do. And every location doesn't matter, what the population is. It's what's the competitive landscape from an SEO perspective.
Right.
What's the gap? What's the target for links? What kind of content do we have to create? How many reviews do we have to acquire? All of those things go into pricing. And here's the kicker. You could have the exact same competitive strategy in two locations, but you could charge differently, even though you're going to employ the same tactics on a value-based pricing, because the value of a case in Los Angeles is more than it would be in a Louisiana, or in a California than it would be Louisiana, because they can get more larger settlements in California than they can for Louisiana. So that all of these things can play in value-based pricing.
But would you tell the client, would you talk about ROI? Okay, that you will, so whatever you're paying in X months, you will start seeing results, you'll start seeing traffic, leads, again, marketing qualified, sales qualified leads. So do you go into that much depth with your clients? And how would you actually give that time frame more importantly?
Yeah, and it's always art and science, right? It's always an estimate, but it is setting expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most critical component of any relationship with a service provider is setting expectations. We call it internally teaching our clients not to be crazy. If you don't set expectations, then they get upset because they don't know.
That's true with everything in life, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you would set expectations of X months and say I'm a client, I come to you, you do the diagnosis, charge me for the diagnosis, you tell me, okay, 9 months is what we expect, you start seeing results. Now, very important part is the attribution of what traffic comes through SEO, what traffic, because top of the funnel, middle, bottom is easy. Last click attribution goes to SEO, but top of the funnel keyword, you might have gotten that traffic, but then they're doing remarketing, then they're doing all kind of activities. Those people get into the funnel, they send emails out, so the attribution changes. So how do you tackle that? And like, do you actually show that, okay, out of the $100,000 they've invested with you in SEO, they have gained Y leads and Z results, something of that sort? Because that's something which the industry is really facing problems with right now.
Yeah, we do a couple of things. So in onboarding, our onboarding experience is really exceptional. You want to make that exceptional to counter buyer's remorse, to set those expectations, to really set the foundation. And we set up all the goal tracking. We set up call rail. Attribution is critical. We have those candid conversations with them, and that's the name of the game. You just got to be transparent. At the end of the day, they're looking for an ROI in any marketing endeavor that they choose. And I think a lot of agencies will try to fluff the numbers or, not be as transparent, but that's not a recipe for long-term success.
True.
There's warmth and competence.
Mm-hmm.
Warmth can be a nice person. They like working with you. And those are the, lying in a timely fashion, but you have to have competence too.
Right.
So if you have warmth and competence, it's a complete recipe. If you just have competence and no warmth, they're probably going to churn. If you just have warmth and no competence, they're going to churn. So you have to have both.
Okay, fair enough. But end of the day, it is SEO. Not every estimate will go right. Like sometimes we estimate 9 months, it might end up being 12 months, 16 months. What strategy do you use at those moments? Like, do you just tell the client, be open with the client? Are you like, in terms of deliverables, are you very transparent with them in terms of what you're doing?
We lay out a full summary of execution for everything that we do.
Okay.
And we have monthly consults. And look, we estimate, forecast improperly, but sometimes we have some early wins more quickly than we anticipated. Right. And that's just the name of the game. And anyone that guarantees a certain result it's very difficult to do that in SEO. We've started, now that we have so much data, we've started to dip our toe in actually performance-based contracts for SEO.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. But it takes a very strong understanding of the industry and market you're in. Because, with pay-per-click, you can do those types of things. You get enough data, you can see what the cost per acquisition is, your CAC. But it's more difficult for SEO.
So when you're doing performance-based in SEO, you're not owning the asset. So like, do you get a part of the revenue for entirety of the life of the company, or how? Because you'll put in all the hard work, they'll start ranking. what after 6 months or 12 months after that, they say, okay, that's it. We want to call it a day. And you've put in all the hard work in trying to get them there.
I'll tell you a couple different considerations for this. The first one is we only do the performance based when not only our attribution is incredible, but the client side attribution with their case management system, with their CRM is phenomenal with their data.
Sure.
We feel confident and we can do, like a trailing 12 and we have consistent data. We are more able to put a dollar amount on the actual signed case, not the lead. So we do the signed case.
Okay.
The other thing to think about is if you are the best, and I'm saying this, I'm not trying to say this with ego or anything. If you are the best and you know that they don't have the option like you, then then your risk of churning is less. And also you can do things like a crazy risk reversal. Hey, within the first 60 days, if we're not the best agency you've ever worked with, you're not confident in our ability to deliver results, not only will we refund your money, but we'll also pay for your next agency's first month. Right? Who's going to take that up?
That's an insane guarantee. I know you follow Traction, and in the in Traction they have the unique proposition, your unique selling point kind of. So this, I don't think a lot of unique propositions can beat this. What you just said.
It's tough because anyone that's going to take that up knows they're never going to work with us again, and if they believe that we're the best,
yeah. Okay, fair enough, 100%. So you would still work on their asset, not yours, in terms of getting results. Okay.
Yeah, that's a downside. I know particularly legal, right? I know that Arizona and Utah have some non-attorney ownership laws going into place, but I know former agency owner, Ian Bentley, creates those assets, right, and sells the paper lead. That is the downside. But if you're comfortable with the relationship, if you've worked with them for a few years, then we do honor those, because it's a mutually beneficial thing. It's a win-win. If we generate them significantly more cases, they're happy and they're happy to pay more.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk a little about scale. You are one of the few people running an SEO only agency in a single niche. You've been able to scale up to almost 8-figure revenue numbers. What has actually led to that scale? How have you built your systems and processes in your teams? And like if we can maybe talk about the structure of your teams and how exactly things flow.
So there's a lot to that in terms of productizing. When people think of productization, they think of like delivery and just processing things that make it repeatable. But the other thing that you're doing is you're improving profitability by eliminating waste. Waste is when you create things that aren't repeatable. Right? It's a blank canvas and you always have to do things that are different. So you can create efficiencies that increase profitability. It also allows you to create a structure for your company for scale. So when you have particularly one service, you can take it almost in an assembly line type of manner, similar to like a Henry Ford type of model.
Right.
Even prefabrication could be external outsourced companies or manufacturers, but we're an EOS agency.
Yep.
We have an accountability chart. We're set up by function. We have a hierarchy. We are a top-down traditional model. We are not a pod. Pods have an advantage of cross-functional departments that have better communication and they can be autonomous. Difficult with a pod is we use strategic partners and outsource some of our work to content production, some link building.
Right.
And we have an outsourced partnership. The top-down hierarchy traditional works a little bit better.
Okay. Also, like you said, the assembly line model pods are not the best for that. Like you would train a set of people to do a certain thing multiple times. So you have account managers who are handling the clients, who are just the functional roles. Like they would only talk to the clients and not do any of the delivery parts. They would strategize and talk to the clients.
Yeah. So our departments are, starting from the left, finance. We're a profit first company, Mike McAllowit.
I just bought the book, you suggested in one of your podcasts.
Oh, nice.
Profitable company. So yeah, okay.
A profit first finance department. Then we have marketing, which is attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Sales is acquisition. Then we have accounts, and then we have operations. So it's left to right. Our accounts department have their head up, strategy, communication, looking for opportunities, and it's separated from fulfillment.
Okay.
Because if they're involved in fulfillment, they have their head down, making sure work's getting complete, and they can't have their head up looking for what the client actually needs. So that's why we separate them.
Okay. So the accounts team would just talk to the client, strategize, look at competitors. Each account manager is handling with the size of clients, they cannot manage perhaps a lot, but what kind of numbers do they manage, each account manager?
Yeah, we like our account managers to manage up to 200,000 MRR per month, 200K MRR. Now, the size of our accounts, that could be anywhere from 4 to at most 10 accounts.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe 12 at the very, very most. So we're it's not that tremendous amount of volume that you hear other agencies where an account manager has 20 or 30. Mm-hmm. I mean, in some situations we have an account manager just handles 4 just because the accounts are larger.
Right. And do you have a set of things they have to do every single month? Like, look at the competitors, look at the content, like because they're not really doing any production work, other than talking to the client, what else do you get your accounts team to look at?
For us, primarily, it is content ideation, strategic, on the strategic side of content selection, what content needs refreshed, if there's keyword cannibalism, if there is missing content. It's very heavily focused on content. Mm-hmm. I would say, when you're looking at working with strategic partners like us, for example, link building, what's an account manager going to say? Like, I want more links, right? Mm-hmm. They can't drive it really.
Yeah.
Backing up on a local perspective, what are they going to say? We want more citations.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. They don't have the ability to drive in those areas.
Sure. So content and client relationships.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primarily.
So all the communication. So, because nowadays clients prefer communicating over different channels. Some would prefer Slack, some would prefer WhatsApp, some would just want you to call them. So how do you handle your account team talking to the clients and then keeping it all together so that, if someone has to actually see what's going on in an account, you can just have a quick view at the maybe account director level, or if you want to maybe have a look, it's easy for you to quickly analyze.
Really good question. So in our onboarding series of emails, we ask how they prefer to be, what their preferred communication method is. Is it email? Is it text? Is it phone? Is it Zoom? So we try to identify that, but we also try to establish in the onboarding a regular meeting cadence.
Sure.
Critical.
Yep.
What day of the month can you commit 30 minutes to an hour?
Sure.
And anticipate it and plan it. It's not this ad hoc situation where you're scrambling trying to figure out a date that works for each other. It's in the calendar. And we use Loom videos a lot to, we try to keep our emails more condensed. If they're too long, nobody wants to read a long email.
Absolutely.
Pick up the phone, jump on Zoom. Some situations we have them in Slack for if the client uses Slack, we'll do a huddle. But for the most part, it's Zoom and phone.
Okay. Is retention ever been an issue for you, like retaining clients?
No. Even in COVID last year in 2020, we had a couple pause, but they came back. Okay. We've always had a really high retention percentage. And I think it is, our background, it took me a while to get into hey, I need to market and do sales. I was always extremely focused on delivering a high quality result. And that's really helped us retain.
That's the best way to kind of grow a company, at least for the initial phase, because it gets you referrals, which is perhaps the best source of clients. What about retaining employees? Because that's your kind of most important asset as a services agency. How do you retain your employees? Like I saw some very interesting things which you do differently from most of the other agencies. I would love to hear more about how you go above and beyond for your employees in terms of trainings and everything else.
Geez, I'll try to. There's a lot that goes into this, and talent, retaining talent's a big problem, a big issue for a lot of agencies right now. So we overpay probably by 10% is number one.
Okay.
Do 20 days PTO at start.
Okay.
I know everyone loves to talk about the unlimited vacation policy, but if you look at the studies, your employees actually take less time off with those.
Yeah.
We force our people to take a week off.
Mm-hmm.
We do 100% health insurance. We pay every penny of it. We got the IRAs and things like that, but we do an all hands meeting every month.
Okay.
That's we're a remote company. We have a kudos Slack channel.
Okay.
Specific channel to kudos an individual based upon something that they did well or helpful.
Okay.
Everyone really loves that.
That's a very nice add-on. Yeah.
It's we reimburse certifications courses. We provide coaching. We have them do a bucket list and try to help them fulfill their bucket list.
Okay.
And I think the most important thing out of all this, though, is a culture built on radical transparency. So we discuss everything that we're doing in the business and trying to accomplish.
Okay, nice. That's great, because that is, I think, one thing which really collects everyone together as a company. They can see the vision. Again, following traction, I'm sure would have kind of enabled you to go in that direction as well. Okay, that's great, Chris. Tell me something. You said challenges in life. That's what motivates you. Now, you faced the challenge of affiliate marketing or making more money early on. You achieved it. Fine, Penguin came. What would have happened if Penguin never came? And do you think you would still be an kick-ass affiliate marketeer?
Probably. I probably would have. Geez, I just had so much freedom and there were so many opportunities. I'm glad kind of the trajectory I went on. It's also, I had a really interesting poker career too. And it's
yes, I was going to talk about that as well.
I think all these experiences allow you to grow as a human and allow you to see opportunities that you didn't know existed. And that's where books come into, is raising those ceilings to see opportunities. But I'm not really sure.
And what's next? Are you going to scale up from 8 to 9 figures, or are you planning to sell, thinking of something else, or
I'm not planning to sell. I am trying to build something spectacular. We want to be known as the SEO agency of choice. We want us to have just our name resonate and ring out when it comes to reputation. What's next? It's funny. I told my president, Stephen Willey, I was like, I think this year has been too easy. Like, and I was like,
That's
not
what I was going towards, because you said you like challenges. And
yeah. I told him, and I said, here's what we're going to do. In January 10th, we're launching 4 websites, and we're doing this giant campaign launch because it's, I'm trying to think of the word it is that I'm looking for. Basically, it allows you to focus, right? When you have this big challenge and all this huge endeavor, everyone has to get on the same page, and it forces you to focus instead of like launching one side at a time. When it's a big challenge, so it creates momentum and excitement.
Big hairy BHAG in the traction, like
that's exactly what we have on the Trello board. It's BHAG. That's big hairy audacious goal. That's what we're doing.
Okay. So 4 websites related to, like, for some of your clients or like your own websites.
So I've got a personal website launching. I've got a website launching for a podcast. We're launching a second podcast with its own website.
Oh, nice.
Her coming out in January as well. We got a new rankings website with some really amazing creative, a whole new style rebrand. And then we're actually doing a 5th little launch that centers around a 3rd podcast. So we're doing, the podcast has been a great outlet for us. So
doubling down on the podcasts. Huh? What are the 2 new podcasts going to be about?
So the current one I have is PIM. It's Personal Injury Mastermind. And the second one is Law Her. And it's going to be focused on the female attorneys and female entrepreneurs. Nice. And then the 3rd one is just going to be Law Firm SEO. We wanted an outlet for specific legal SEO tactics and that relates to rankings. So we'll have those 3. We're going to create a podcast network and use that on Megaphone.
Okay. So from 10 to 100 million, like if that's your next target, do you think that's still achievable with PI, or do you think you'll have to niche out or add services?
That's a great question. We're actually gonna break out from PI. We're gonna do all legal SEO.
Sure. And
we had that tough decision. Did we want to stay with PI and add additional services, or do we want to stick with our core competency SEO? And that's what we're going to do. It's going to come down to a larger focus on sales and front end marketing and building a brand. And I feel very confident in our lead generation strategies that we can do that.
Okay. SEO is so heavily controlled by one company in the world, Google. Doubling down on SEO, and again, it's not that we are doing anything wrong, you're doing anything wrong. We might be going by the book, but the problem is the book can get changed tomorrow, which is not in our control. So is that something which kind of sometimes makes you think that was like going horizontal versus doubling down on SEO? Because see, we have a software, we have agency, we have really doubled down on SEO, but I kind of keep on thinking about this. Is SEO going to be what it is? Is it going to change drastically?
Yeah, and I think it definitely will change, right? With saturation, doesn't matter if it's Google on Apple, right? There needs to be search engine optimization for your podcast to be discovered. Same for YouTube SEO. So it may change in its iteration. What if the government comes and breaks Google up and there's multiple search engines? Yeah. That's opportunity. Google also just released the indented listings, right? They had the passage, those passage rankings. Now they're doing these indented. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. When we looked at the decision, we kind of thought of it in 2 ways. One way, we have relationship equity, right? That flywheel relationship equity in PI, moving into other services. Or we have our productized service, know how to make money, know how to deliver, and reputation to do the other areas of the law. And we felt that it was actually more risky to just stick with PI because we felt that SEO is more secure from a service perspective than maybe an area of the law perspective. So we're actually, I guess, hedging by going into other areas of the law. Our initial hedge. Now, I also, as an entrepreneur, I am heavy in investing. So I'm big into real estate, and there's other streams of income from assets. So there's a hedge there too.
Do you do virtual real estate as well, because that's your expertise?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. What's your life goal? What is 10, 20, 30 years, or just it doesn't really need to be any time bound goal, like, but do you have any goal which you think about sometimes? Okay, this is what I need to achieve in life.
Yeah, being transparent, my biggest depression is around my health and weight, right? So I'm really trying to put more energy and focus there. I'm looking at 75 hard and just some other things to get more focus there. My goal is to leave a legacy and to be a good husband and father, and that's my main goal. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, Chris. Let's have a quick rapid fire if you're up for it.
Okay.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Very competitive person.
Okay. What have you done in life which you're most proud of?
I think building the business, I'm so proud of what we've been able to achieve.
That's an exclusion here. Sorry.
Yeah, an exclusion. I think staying close to the family. I have a really great relationship with my family, and I think that's something I'm really proud about.
Awesome. What's your favorite hobby?
I love college basketball. I love Star Wars. Those are a couple of the 2 hobbies.
Do you still play basketball?
A little bit casually. I used to play for many, many years, but I haven't recently.
Okay. What's your favorite book?
Oh my gosh, this is loaded.
Yeah, but one, that's the.
Well, give me a genre. Business book.
Okay, let's talk business, because a lot of people listening to this would be business people.
Gosh, this is like painful to give you one.
I'm sure.
I really like 12 Pillars by Jim Rohn.
Yeah, that's an amazing book.
Read it in a day. It just always makes me feel good every time I read it.
Okay. Chris, what is that one thing you wish that your 20-year-old self knew?
Don't pull that fire alarm in the apartment complex, no matter how funny you think it would be. Hey, it's going to work out. Just keep learning, keep focused. It's going to work out.
Okay, Chris, it was great having you on the show. If anyone from the audience wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, the social media network I'm most active on is LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, and then you can visit our website, rankings.io.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chris. Chris Dreyer from rankings.io. It was great talking to you. And thanks for sharing all the knowledge bombs. This was amazing experience listening to you, talking to you. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me.